For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
We continue to grapple with challenges around us. So what are we going to do about it? Well, we'll be discussing. We'll come up with remedies, recommendations, and all's left is for us as citizens and for the powers that be to ensure that we put our minds together to come up with the right solutions to several problems that continue to confront us. This era, no doubt, is a very challenging one, and we have no choice but to try our utmost to cope. My name is Timothy Poleon. We'll be together until 2 o'clock this afternoon. In a moment, your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979, your WhatsApp messages, and your WhatsApp calls at 716-2026. Our NewsSpin Facebook question of the day. Since we continue to experience wall-to-wall coverage on the death of Queen Elizabeth II, let us continue in that vein with regard to our NewsSpin Facebook question of the day. But pose a question in relation to the monarchy that you'll be able to identify with from our perspective in St. Lucia. So here we go. Which St. Lucian woman is worthy of being crowned queen? Which St. Lucian woman is worthy of being crowned queen in St. Lucia? So, some of your responses. Some of them understandable, realistic. Others very comical. So I'll try to see if I could go through as many of them as possible while I ask you to just bear with me, just trying to access your many comments via Facebook on our Facebook page. And somebody says there, all St. Lucian women. Another person comments, your mother Tim, rest her soul. Why? Because she was a humble soul who treated people with respect and empathy. She knew the struggles but faced it all with a smile on her face. She did not see rich or poor. She only saw people for what they were. If she were alive, she would be my choice. Okay, flattery there. Another person says, Diana Charles, maybe. Another person comments, Dr. June Suma and Joycelyn Fletcher. Somebody says, ha ha ha, Tim, that's the funniest question you ever asked. Another person says, simply, good question. Another person says, also, good question. Another person comments, I think number one choice would be Dame Paulette Louise. My second choice would be Raquel Dubule Chastain. Somebody also says, the coffee lady. Who's that coffee lady he'll keep making reference to? Another person says, my mom or myself. Another person says, my mother. Another person comments, Minelle has been and will always be. Somebody also says, my mother. Somebody says, come on, aren't we all queens / goddesses? Another person says, I'm Dr. Louise. Another person says, Shah's wife and family. The person says, I will be right back. And that was your NewsSpin Facebook question of the day and some of your responses to that question. Which St. Lucian woman is worthy of being crowned queen? If I had a choice, Dame Paulette Louise. All right, let's move on to another issue. Not to be surprised, there was a shooting over the weekend, Sunday evening, and that is in Babonneau. Fortunately, on this occasion, we're hearing that the person has not succumbed to his injuries, but he is in a critical condition at hospital. The circumstances we do not know, and this incident occurred at about 10 o'clock last evening. Are we surprised? No. Are we outraged? Same no. Concerned? Don't get the impression we are concerned. Are we given the impression that we want something to be done about this crime problem? Again, the answer is no. Because somehow we have gotten comfort from the fact, those of us who are alive, that we have not been directly impacted, and personally I'm talking about, being shot, being injured, being killed. Obviously we are around, and therefore we do not see it as a major problem. So we might be of the impression that the sky is not falling. As somebody said recently, well, it's a case where maybe the sky has already fallen and it is not in the process of falling. And we keep making reference to a number of other Caribbean countries because we believe that we could hide behind their circumstances. So for example, our National Security Minister and Prime Minister might tell you, Jamaica has 1,018 homicides so far. I think the last time I checked, about a week ago, 1,018, could be more. We are just about 49 on the verge of recording 50 homicides for this year. And for some people, that is not a lot. We'll continue the discussion in just a moment. I'd like to inform you that NewsSpin is on TuneIn as well as Power 97.9 FM, our NewsSpin Facebook page. And as for YouTube, just log in NewsSpin SLU via YouTube and you'll be able to watch the broadcast. Still to come, a regional prime minister speaks on the crime problem. There's a prime target by bandits, by thieves on Chaussee Road. The question is, why is that business establishment still operating there? Honestly. We'll also hear from the MP for Castries Central and a whole lot more. Please stay with the broadcast.
Born from the same soil, growing stronger.
Raised of our own sweat and toil, doing it together.
I'll bank for you and me,
Taking us forward so proudly. First National Bank, the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far.
the pride of St. Lucia, here to stay.
Growing up, growing stronger, it's the First National way.
Every day we're back in battle, faster National Bank, together we'll go far.
For decades every day, it's clear, it's true.
First National Bank, we're here for you.
Contact Lucelec before trimming or cutting down trees that are near overhead electrical wires. Watch out for power lines before you begin working on a ladder. Be sure that ladders or scaffolds are far enough away so that you and the ends of the tools you're using don't come within 10 feet of power lines. And never use any electrical appliance in wet surrounding outdoors or in the rain.
This message is brought to you by Lucelec, the power of care.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, floor. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want.
Win big with Flow! Tickets to the biggest shows, water park passes, costumes, over $20,000 in cash, data, and more! Activate a 3, 7, or 30-day combo plan. Pay up your bill, switch to Flow, bundle up your chance to win every day!
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want. Look at the place covered. Do what you want. Watch what you want.
Bundle now and get a smartphone for only $99! Switch now!
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Hello to all our queens watching and listening to the broadcast, whether you are in St. Lucia, whether you are in Canada, the UK, in Dubai, in Martinique, in the United States. Welcome, one and all, particularly if you are a queen. Now, not every female is a queen, okay? All right, let's get it right. All right, still on the crime problem, which is very, very, very serious in St. Lucia. And I might as well open the lines at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Talk show hosts sometimes can get carried away. But we want to hear from you right now. In the run-up to any general election in St. Lucia, going forward, I'm suggesting that we make it as a condition for you to be elected into office as a government, as an MP. You present to us a plan of action to fight to tackle whatever problem that is affecting the country at the particular time in the run-up to a poll. So, for example, if crime is the dominant issue, what are you going to do about crime? Give me some specifics, have it written down, provide some guidelines, policies as to the way forward. Don't glibly say crime is a problem, we'll make it a priority, the first 100 days we will tackle the problem seriously, etc., etc. Just dabbling in generalities. Tell us specifically. If healthcare is an issue, tell us specifically how you plan to address this. Because politicians are taking us for a ride, they get into office, and they know that they have 5 years within which to distract us, to bamboozle us, to disrespect us, and at the last minute, they will come up with some kind of strategy, a ruse, some kind of scheme that will all of a sudden, and could be maybe a theme, etc., putting you first, and they ride that theme continuously, and then we know what people have been saying about us St. Lucians. We forget quickly, and we just vote them back into office or put the other side into office. On what basis do you believe that the St. Lucia Labour Party was elected into office in 2021 when it comes to crime, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to creating jobs for the people? It is just on the basis of some flimsy campaign, just making promises, coming across as being very convincing. It is on that basis. But we need more specifics from our politicians. We have our first call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
How was your weekend?
Very good. And yours?
Not bad, sir. Tim, you make sense, and this is so true. Tim, you don't believe that people of St. Lucia need to be, consulted on a number of decisions making by government, including both administrations?
Yeah. What would you like to be consulted on this time around, right now?
Let me just be a little more specific. When it's come to move from the Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth to a republic, that's one. And then certain decisions such as, now we have this administration wants to continue on building on the old St. Jude's they had there. And then you have our airports the project have been come to a halt. Up to now, we have not get a good clarification as to what is going on. We have so many things that are happening, and I believe that people of St. Lucia, especially the other one I left was that when it comes to change diplomatic link between different countries such as China or Taiwan, I believe we need to have a stay, a referendum or whatever it is, a stay on this. Because I just don't like the idea where a new administration just can do what they want, especially when it gets something that is so sincere or sensitive, and just do what they want and say they're taking that decision on behalf of the people, in which the people doesn't have a shred of idea as to what is going on.
Yeah,
you get me?
Yeah, but what we like to do, caller, is to politicize those things. Before you know it, we'll be talking about whether we should become a Republican or whether we should become, a Republic. And people will politicize this just because it's the SLP. Supporters of the United Workers' Party will not vote in support of St. Lucia becoming a Republic. Okay? And we have had similar instances in a number of Caribbean countries, I think Grenada and also St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with regard to them joining the Caribbean Court of Justice. So those things are politicized. It is not all about the government, giving the government the go-ahead or saying no to the government on the basis of this is coming from the government, but we see it in a partisan manner from the perspective of SLP and UWP. And that is bad.
You know what I believe, my opinion? It may not be right, but that's my opinion, that the government or whichever administration should pass in all 17 constituencies and having town hall meetings as to certain critical decisions like this, especially some of those decisions, I even call them at life and death. Because if you can put your airport to another country to earn it for 30 years, and after 30 years you're going to see some benefits, I find these are critical issues to me, and I call that life and death. They should be passing 17 constituents and have town hall meetings and let the people have their views, because the politician does not have everything, like the other one. Once they make a decision, that's it, and we just have to accept it. Because at the end of the day, like we have seen before, another administration come, they switch to another diplomatic relationship with another country, and the people have no idea. We just don't know what is going on. So I believe we need to have something, some such a discussion, and let the people of St. Lucia know that, because though these are tough decisions, to me these are critical decisions, And especially decisions like China with what is happening right now with Taiwan, and then you have the United States almost on the edge, you know, because they are monitoring what is happening there between China, almost circle the entire island of Taiwan and prepare at all costs militarily to take back that country. I mean, these are some other things when we make hard decisions, especially international decisions, that we need to know what is going on. That is just what I'm saying. We need to have a say in it, not because it's into or 11-6, and you can just go ahead and do that on behalf of the innocent people of St. Lucia, which doesn't have any idea as to what is going on. Thank you, sir, for your
Okay, thank you so much for calling. But realistically, most St. Lucians do not care about what method is used for us to decide whether we want to become a republic or not, or what method that we employ if we want to join the Caribbean Court of Justice. And this is reflected by the low attendance at such academic exercises. Public meetings on the Castries Market Step, William Peter Boulevard, well attended. Rallies a week or two before a general election, well attended. But when you have those discourses taking place, hosted at public venues, your Castries Central Library, if you were to hold it at the National Cultural Center, the attendance certainly will not be that encouraging. People do not turn out in St. Lucia for those kind of activities, those events. It is only after a decision has been taken, then you hear people clamoring and taking issue with the decision that was taken in their name. So while I understand what you're saying, caller, and even the politicians will see it as a waste of time going around St. Lucia, and politicians in St. Lucia, they are not known to invest their time and their resources in such measures. If you're talking about a rally, talking about events that warrant house to house and talking politics, and you have Chasney going up against Philip Pierre in terms of what he will tell the supporters in his house to house, and Philip Pierre doing the same thing, vice versa, and Guy Joseph and Joachim, etc. They have all this energy, you know, ebullience. But when it comes to dealing with important issues, somehow politicians do not have the faith and the confidence that those people who voted for them just a year ago, etc., will exhibit the same level of interest when it comes to the CCJ and when it comes to St. Lucia joining Barbados, Dominica, Trinidad and Guyana in becoming a republic. We have a call. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Timothy, pleasant good afternoon to you, PW.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
To NewsSpin. And I would also like to say good afternoon to our international listeners all over the world, Timothy. Timothy, as I have said, welcome to the Banana Republic, Timothy. And as I've always said, Timothy, which government ministry is working in the interests of the people? Timothy, sometimes you want to see the minister. You live in a particular constituency, and you want to see the minister. You go to his constituency office. He's hardly around. He's never around. The secretary takes the message. He never gets the message. And sometimes it's a matter of urgency or importance, Timothy. Remember you spoke about a ministry of getting things done, Timothy?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm proposing, Timothy? I am proposing that you and I know we have 17 constituencies and 17 candidates vie for these constituencies. You know what? I would like 17 mayors, you know, and these mayors, now I'm telling you, I would like 17 mayors. And you know what? These mayors are responsible for taking care of the people in the community. These mayors would undergo small projects in that community, see after the affairs of that community, because the minister is not around. And I am telling you, you know how that would happen, Timothy? We have two political parties. Each political party would come up with a candidate as mayor. We have one polling station, so we have 17 polling stations around the island. The people that are registered in that community comes actually to that only one polling station to vote for a mayor. Both the United Workers' Party and the Solution Labour Party would put up a candidate as mayor.
But why do we need so many representatives, caller? Do we have the financial resources, caller? Do we have the financial resources to reward those people, to pay them?
Timothy, we have all the jobs they're creating for the positions they're creating. Are you asking yourself if they have the money for director of this, director of that? If we have money to give, actually...
Caller, the mistake that we have made is that everyone who is elected and their party wins, they automatically want to be a minister with responsibility for culture, for rural development, for food security, for health, tourism, etc. No one wants their main role to be that of MP, because substantively that's what they were elected to do, to represent the interests of the people, not to be a minister.
Guys are overwhelmed. Some of these guys have just gotten a ministry, and I'm telling you, they don't know from their head to their toes, you know. And they're running a ministry, so you expect them to be available in the community, Timothy. I say somebody that knows about the community will handle the small projects in the community, will see after the affairs of the community, and any big projects will be actually handled by the minister. But projects like cleaning drains, constructing of drains, small projects, sidewalks, these projects should be handled by a mayor. And I guarantee you, if a mayor knows he can be elected, and boy, he can face the electorate to be elected and voted out, he will work for the interests of the community, Timothy. Timothy, I am saying to you...
That's just one additional layer of bureaucracy.
Timothy, these ministers will never be able to handle the affairs of these communities. This is all I have to say for this afternoon, Timothy. I thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. I believe that just be another layer of bureaucracy. One, you go to the mayor tell you, well, boy, I do not have sufficient powers to deal with that particular matter. I will have to take it to the minister. You take it to the minister will tell you he has to take that particular issue to cabinet. And then you get the go around. I just think that we need to ensure that those people we elect into office, they represent our interests and do so in a very efficient manner. I don't think that a politician has the capacity, and even the state has the resources, to deal efficiently or to the satisfaction of every voter their concerns in the respective constituencies. But in large measure, I believe that our MPs can do a whole lot better, because when you at least give some kind of indication that you have certain skills, a certain capacity, and therefore you also have the interest of the voter at heart, even when you do not perform your duties to their satisfaction 100%, I think the voters in a constituency, they will give you a sufficiently high mark, because you are displaying an interest in issues that are affecting them. But when you are not around, when you cannot be seen, when because you are traveling all over the place and they cannot see the results of this, then there's a possibility that you will not be re-elected into office. We have a WhatsApp call as we say hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on there. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes.
Good afternoon to you. Yes.
Today I'd like a little bit of extra time to explain something to
Let me see if you're worthy of that time. Go ahead.
Yes, why is it so difficult to do business in St. Lucia? That's the question I asked myself, okay? Today I went to a business place and I asked the worker, may I please have your boss's number? And she was telling me that she cannot give me the boss's number. I tried explaining to her I want to give your business a proposal. I want to y'all to sell a product of mine. She still did not give me the boss's number. Instead, she wants me to travel to Castries to get the boss's number. Do you think that is economical, Tim? Is that efficient?
Well, she could have told you that there's a particular department that's responsible for such initiatives. She could have directed you to that particular department, and you could have spoken to somebody in that department. But when you say you want to speak to the boss, what do you mean, the managing director of the place?
But Tim, I'm a boss. I'm a product designer. I design all type of new products. That's why I keep on calling, telling people to invest. But I keep on investing my own money into the products.
And what you could also try to do, Colin, in such circumstances, is to ask for an appointment. A particular day, you could speak with some individual in that particular establishment on a particular specific issue. Because it's not only you.
That was my intention.
We don't know, but
I
maybe,
wanted the number
no. You
for
did,
the boss, so I could call
no.
and make an appointment.
You didn't convey that message properly, Colin. You did not convey that message properly.
Okay.
Yeah, you did not convey it
So
properly.
this is why we are not moving forward, Tim.
Yeah, but why you call him an
Because
office
if I
and say
have
you just
a
want to talk to
product
the
that
boss? I
can
want to talk to the
help
boss. Nah, that's not the approach. That is not the approach, sir. I am calling.
Okay,
I have
take
this.
correction.
I have this particular idea. I want to speak with somebody who can deal with it. So a relevant person in your department. How can I speak with that person? Preferably, if I could have an appointment on a particular day. My name is so and so. This is my contact number. The person is likely to assist you. You're just calling for the boss. You just want to speak to the boss. Come on. And on the other,
Tim,
on the other end of the line, you're not saying, and you're not saying, and you're not saying,
business's number.
you're not
She
saying
told me
you.
the business's number is in the directory.
You're not saying that you are Elon Musk. I am Elon Musk. Like to speak to the boss. I have an idea. I need to. Oh boy, hold on, Mr. Musk. Is that you really? But come on. The approach. I think it's the approach. The approach.
Tim, I spend hours on hours working on the product, hours and hours.
And
this is the only place that can sell that product.
And you can spend a few minutes. No other place. And you can spend a few minutes doing the thing the right way, Colin. The right way is approach. So his approach, the approach is an
Tim,
issue.
I do not even want. Right now, I do not even want to do business with them anymore, just because of their worker.
Okay.
I do not want to do business anymore, and this is why we have all that crime, all that lack of employment. Because people fail to realize that when somebody is putting all their time and effort into something to make the lives of other people better, sometimes you just have to give them what they ask for so that things could be better for everybody else.
If everyone who calls to speak to the boss, right, was given that opportunity to speak to the manager will not get anything done, Colin. All right, and who knows?
Tim,
it could be an ordinary person who just want to.
You can call me, right? Anybody can call me, and I would answer the call. Okay, no matter how busy I am, I will answer the call and give the person the time. So why can't somebody do that for me?
Caller, I'm saying to you again, your approach is suspect. You don't have the right approach, and you need to tweak it. You need to improve it, sir. All right.
Now, I would like to say how I think I want to stop crime. Because right now, I will try to be the commissioner. I want a roadblock every 10 miles in St. Lucia, 24/7. Okay? And if there are not enough officers to do that job and be at the roadblock areas, I would like the government to get the largest loan they can possibly get to hire more officers. Because if they cannot hire officers, they should hire security personnel or any other person that can help into letting that happen. Because look, today they're burying a young man who got shot recently. Cash money from the resort, his burial is today. Okay? And that's not a good thing. These weapons were created by engineers during the World War II. And this is not the environment for weapons. We have no war in St. Lucia. Okay, I do not like people using this type of weapons.
I think you have it wrong. We have a war. We have wars going on in St. Lucia. We don't have a war. Caller, we have a lot of wars going on.
We have wars.
We do.
Well, the government needs to make St. Lucia a non-war zone. Declare this place a non-war zone. And we need to put the implementations, we need to implement the things necessary in order to cause it to be a non-war zone. And if the authorities cannot do the job, I would like the citizens to take the duty of watching the community, put more cameras at the homes, make the cameras face the streets, put cameras on the electrical poles, and put monitors, have everything done so that we can get to know all the vehicles that are involved in the carrying of these weapons from place to place.
Okay, caller. Thank you so much. Appreciate the contribution. This guy was once a part of the NewsSpin WhatsApp group. He is known as Boss CEO. So his whole approach is high-handed. You know, he wants to call anywhere and this is Boss CEO. I want to speak to the boss. Okay? As far as crime fighting, this thing about a roadblock every 10 miles, Boss CEO, that's too predictable. I think you're looking at things too much on the surface as far as fighting crime. But who knows? Maybe you're a genius and all of us are fools and you might just have the right ideas in terms of tackling our crime problem. Talking about crime, let us say now from the MP for Castries Central, also Minister with responsibility for local government and housing, Mr. Richard Frederick, speaking to reporters earlier today on the crime problem on the island and what he sees as the way forward.
Quite honestly, it is something that has not gone down too well with me personally. One will understand that as the district rep of Castries Central in my former years, I did whatever it took to bring crime down, including hosting a lot of friendly competitions, sporting competitions. At that time, the coffers of government were not as empty as we found them now. And survival now is the key for our people. Our people are crying. I mean, there are so many needs to be met, but we believe that survival is the most important thing. That is not to say we will not do whatever is necessary to ensure that we don't put the brake on crime. Personally, I'm hoping that from January next year, I can reinitiate when the finances of this country would have settled, when those difficult economic waters have been navigated sufficiently. We will be in a position to initiate some sporting activities that will bring the warring factions together under a peaceful banner.
Boss CEO, you heard that? Warring factions. So we have wars in St. Lucia. But just having those sporting events on their own will certainly just put the whole, put those guys who are currently in a warpath, will cause them just to be, you know, just to relax just for a moment or two. There will be a respite. As was demonstrated, Mr. MP, when you had your Peace and Love campaign a few years ago. The guys, number one, irrespective of playing football, cricket together, etc., they will not give up their guns. Will they give up their guns? I think what they will be doing is just taking a sweat, as a matter of fact, getting themselves fitter so that they can go after each other at some point in time. So we need to be holistic, quite apart from having those friendly encounters, football competitions, etc. You need the police to be better trained. You need a functioning judicial system. You need more police officers on our streets. We need to record greater economic growth so that more people can get employment opportunities on the island. So a football competition on its own, and the evidence is there, absolutely will not create any kind of dent as far as our crime problem is concerned. But I guess it's worth trying. All right, with regard to Boss CEO, somebody says there, you my partner, you know, but troops done, boss. Another, and that's in the NewsSpin WhatsApp group. Somebody says, the boss himself. And another person says, the man is the boss. He has all the answers. Y'all listen to NewsSpin, referring there to Boss CEO who called just moments ago. More of your calls in just a moment at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026. If the likes of the Bahamas, Belize, Grenada, St. Kitts, Nevis, and St. Lucia were to decide to become a republic, what will it take? More on this in just a moment.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Lucilec kaveti ou pour point précaution durant saison cyclone ça là. Mi un petit commission qui kaywen de ou protéger la vie ou ek propriétaire ou. Couiller Lucilec avant ou trim et ben couper pied bois qui pouet ligne électrique. Veillez pour ligne courant électrique avant ou monter l'échelle. Fait assurer l'échelle, scaffold et bout d'outil ou ka servi pas venir moins qui 10 pieds hors ligne courant électrique. Pas jamais servi appliance et ben outils qui ka servi courant électrique. Des wall côté qui mouillé et ben en la pli. Ça c'était en commission hors Lucilec.
The biggest party in sport is back for the 10th year of CPL. And the St. Lucia Kings want to go all the way this year. CPL will be bigger, better, and louder than ever. And with the return of our very own Johnson Charles to the Kings team. The games are between 7th and 11th of September. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
We heard you, and now we are answering. Elks City of Castries Cooperative Credit Union is happy to offer you, our valued customers, the most amazing deal to own your piece of St. Lucia. From now until December 31st, enjoy an interest rate of 4.5% with a deposit of 5% to help you purchase house and land only, or put up a structure on your existing property. And it gets better. Legal fees are included in your mortgage. Call us at 452-6820 or 453-2951 or email us at info@elkscreditunion.com. Terms and conditions apply. Elks City of Castries Cooperative Credit Union, building a stronger community, one member at a time.
Continue with your calls and your WhatsApp messages once again at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody just sent me a photograph of the section of Monjuro Street in Castries, and that is at the back of First Caribbean International Bank, and the other street will be Emmanuel Street. So those two streets, somebody just sent me a WhatsApp message featuring a photograph, a video of Emmanuel Street in a deplorable state. I just sent it to my producer. We'll try to put it on screen in just a moment if we can. So people are continuing to complain about the deplorable state of our roads in St. Lucia, even in the nation's capital. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. So there's talk about the need for, particularly in light of the death of Queen Elizabeth II and the accession to the throne of King Charles III, that why shouldn't St. Lucia decide to become a republic? What's the use of having somebody who is based overseas being your head of state? And all the atrocities, quote-unquote atrocities, that are being linked to the British Empire, colonialism, imperialism, and there's several years ago what happened in Kenya involving the response from the British with regard to the Mau Mau rebellion. So the likes of the Bahamas, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia all require a simple majority if they were to become a republic, and the simple majority via a referendum, while Grenada requires a two-thirds vote, and Belize is the only country in the Caribbean where the king could be removed by a parliamentary vote alone. So a parliamentary vote, if the majority of the parliamentarians decide to vote for Belize to become a republic, that's all it takes. In the case of the Bahamas, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia, it requires a simple majority. But as I said earlier on, such processes normally would be politicized to the extent that people see this from the prism of red and yellow. So if it is the SLP that is in office right now and wants St. Lucia to become a republic, then it's very likely that supporters of the United Workers' Party will not vote in support, and supporters of the SLP will vote in support of it. So it's not based on principle. And this certainly that was demonstrated through similar processes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and also in Grenada several years ago. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. We have a few comments, not many. Let me see what somebody is saying. But he just sent me apparently a copy of the St. Lucia Labour Party manifesto and the content of that manifesto. Okay, but I'm not, in case you're making reference to plans to address crime, etc., I want more than that, just a headline. For example, there's a part there, 28, that says protection of our heritage and patrimony. We want our political parties to go into detail, to explain, because by just, taking a cursory look at this, it's just not sufficient. And the person says, SLP 2020 manifesto, touching the CCJ topic, I'm guessing they will easily say the people voted in favor of St. Lucia going with the CCJ in 2021. But this will, no doubt, this will be politicized if it does come to that. All right, let me see what's happening in the chat room as far as those of you watching the broadcast on Facebook. Some of your comments right now with regard to what we are discussing at this point in time on this afternoon's NewsSpin program. Somebody simply says, Tim, you said not all females are queens. Tim, female dogs are not queen. Female cats are not queens. Flea rats are not queens. You get the picture? All women, however, are queens. Okay, thank you so much. No argument there. All right, let's see if we have another comment. Somebody said, I said coffee lady, what say you? All right, another comment in the chat room. Let's see there. Okay, so you're having your own discussion. Somebody said, my mother is more of a queen. Some of your discussions taking place in the chat room. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. Now, crime. From the perspective of the Barbados Prime Minister, who convened a press conference on Friday speaking about the crime problem. What I like about Mia Motley is that when speaking a particular matter, she takes personal responsibility. She tells you that she is in charge. She's telling you that she is the Prime Minister. She heads the government, and therefore there is a responsibility for the government. And likewise, the responsibility for the citizens or the citizenry and also stakeholders. She's not running away from the fact that she too has a role to play in the crime problem, in successfully tackling the crime problem. Unlike her counterpart in St. Lucia, who would tell you that the sky is not falling and St. Lucia is not the only country with a crime problem, and then he goes on to make reference to the other countries in the Caribbean that are going through a similar situation. Absolutely, the fact is, politicians, when they're under hustings, they give every indication that they have the answers to the problem, and the people that they are trying to unseat, they are stupid, they are bereft of any kind of ideas to tackle those issues. And that is why we have to hold our governments, we have to ensure that they account for their stewardship. And you have a particular portfolio for a particular reason, whether it's health, whether it is social transformation, whether it's tourism, whether it's agriculture, whether it is finance. So if those respective areas, they are not performing at an optimum level, then you ought to raise your hands and take responsibility for whatever problem that we are experiencing at that particular period, because you have responsibility for this. You are the one who is charged with that duty. Why run away when things are not looking too good? And compared when you're recording successes, you want to take all the praise. So let us hear from the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley.
This is not about government alone. Cannot be, has never been. But government has an essential role to play with the provision of policies and legislation for law enforcement. There is an amendment that will come that will correct the section of the Firearms Act that struck down the mandatory sentencing, and that amendment pretty much, we believe, can follow that which is being done in the United Kingdom, in Turks and Caicos, and in other countries where the sentence of imprisonment for possession of guns will be mandatory unless there are exceptional circumstances that the judge is satisfied that can be there. That amendment must come to the House now, and the AG will bring that shortly. But the bottom line is, my friends, we must treat to this as one people and as one nation. And I hope and pray that we understand the gravity of what we're dealing with, that this has been the subject that has been contained within groups is no comfort to anyone. But at the end of the day, Barbados is too small to entertain this kind of violence.
Prime Minister of Barbados, Ms. Mia Motley. We have somebody who's holding on. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello? Hello, good afternoon. Okay, we lost the call. 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. So at least she's not telling you that, crime has always been an issue even before this administration came into office. She's saying to you that no government can do it alone, but at least giving the impression that the government will lead any effort to tackle crime in a country. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You on the air. Hello, good afternoon to you, caller. Okay, I suspect we're having some slight technical problem there in terms of getting the call on the air, but continue to call us at 452-2979. Somebody says, I understand the need for a more detailed approach concerning what the parties intend to do for the country. However, shouldn't we also introduce debating between the leaders of the respective parties where they can answer questions about solving crime and other ills facing the country? Allow them to answer questions from moderators and members of the public. Great suggestion. It happens in Jamaica. When was the last time we had any debate in St. Lucia between the leaders of our main political parties in a run-up to a general election? Do you believe that there are interest groups or stakeholders, major organizations on the island that have not attempted this? They have. The politicians do not want to debate each other for fear that they make a major boo-boo, a folly, that will cause them to appear to be incompetent and to lose votes on the heels of a general election. So therefore, they are not likely to take up any kind of challenge where they're going to be debating each other. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Yes, Timothy, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, Timothy, another young man gunned down. The slate of our violence keep on spiraling out of control. Timothy, with the item that was broadcast by you in reference to the Central Castro's minister, I am just, taken aback. Timothy, when people are out of government, they have all the ideas. But when they are in government, sometimes I just cannot fathom some of the things that they say. Timothy, I will tell you, this sports thing needs a better initiative than just what meets the eye. You see, you will give young men to play sport for how long? Timothy, we need to look at the social, the economical, the physical, the psychological, all of the above in dealing with crime. For a minister of government to just, home in on this as a way and a means of curbing crime, we are lost, Timothy. I don't care what they say, we are lost. You understand? And if they don't have ideas, say they don't have ideas. St. Lucia has produced men and women of renown. Tell them come in and give or help with the situation. Timothy, we are getting nowhere with what they are saying, The skies are falling down. But you could listen to a Mia Motley, who is going to deal with the issues head on. And she has the support of all her social agencies and all her agencies. We are so disconnected in this country. And when ministers think they are the boss to deal with it, oh, we are lost, man. And I hope they get the message that they are just creating more problems instead of dealing with problems. And the time has come for these leaders to put their heads together, work together with the communities, work together with the police and the other agencies that are part of crime fighting in St. Lucia. Thank you, Timothy.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says, Tim, while I support becoming a republic, I believe we need a true presidential republic where the president runs the country like the U.S., not what obtains in Barbados. We should also move to proportional representation and let MPs run local government in their constituency, not ministries. Maybe then we will see development in constituencies such as canneries. Many of the countries do not want, if they're going to become a republic, do not want to have the president serving in an executive capacity, where they're presiding over the affairs of the country and they're not basically performing the tasks in a ceremonial manner. I think you have it in Dominica, ceremonial, likewise in Barbados. So you have to cede power, okay? And a lot of our politicians do not want to give up power. Which prime minister, right, Philip J. Pierre, wants St. Lucia to become a republic, will pass on those powers, executive powers, to another individual who will be serving as president. So it basically comes more of the same in terms of a guy who is basically taking on the role of a governor general. The only thing this time around, he was elected or appointed by the government, which represents the people of the country, and is there to represent the people, and is not representing he's not representing the head of state, who is in this case the king, because our governor general is representing the king right now. Okay, We are the one who's just footing his bill. I imagine an exorbitant bill, paying him, etc., to represent the King of England. So this will not change in a hurry, definitely. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says, Tim, what's your take on the situation with the people that went to Canada? It's just sad that we sold our people into slavery. It's a good thing it was Uncle Shas who sold them out. Okay. Before we reach a conclusion on this, regarding the fate of those farm workers, particularly the women who went to Canada just recently, I think, to pick strawberries, I have been trying to get an update from the Department of Labor without any success. I think we have a representative in Canada in the person of Mr. Henry Mangal. Just recently, I don't know if many of you are aware of this, after the workers anonymously wrote a letter pertaining to their plight on the farms, how they're being abused verbally, etc. They wrote it anonymously, sent the letter to the Labor Minister, Mr. Carl Samuda, I think is his name, in Jamaica. And he did not take the concerns seriously. Not until, I think, other people in Jamaica took him to task, including the media there. And so there are stakeholders, representatives of the government in Jamaica, I think very soon, shortly, will be visiting the farms over in Canada to ascertain exactly what is happening there with regard to the fate of the Jamaican workers. There was an accident at one of the farms recently which resulted in one Jamaican male being killed. I think his family will be rewarded. So it's not a case of just sending our women and men over to farms, whether it's in the United States and Jamaica and the US, and forget about them, because we say it's a golden opportunity, an opportunity to improve themselves. The opportunity that they're getting there is certainly not available in St. Lucia. They can make a lot more money, return to the island, take care of their family, take care of, construct a home, etc. We must determine the conditions under which those people are working. For example, whether they have access to their passports, whether the agencies in Canada will look after the interests of those people without penalizing them if they complain too much, or deporting them. Because if you are vulnerable, you have a particular mindset, my God, if I complain too much, I will be deported to St. Lucia. What is there for me right now? This guava season that my family, friends, the same thing I left St. Lucia to return to it. I mean, there isn't any hope. So I might as well just stomach and accept the abuse as best as I can and hope that I will be given another opportunity to serve on a farm in Canada and bear the pain in silence. So it is for the authorities in St. Lucia to represent the interest of those workers. We have a labor department, we have a labor minister. Those people, when they go to Canada, I don't think that they are represented by any trade union or they have any form of representation. So let us just not leave those people to fend for themselves over in Canada. Let's do whatever we can to ensure that their rights are not violated anyway. Somebody says there, my question, shouldn't King Charles III be officially proclaimed or confirmed as head of state in St. Lucia? I've read this has been done in other countries such as Canada, Antigua and Barbuda, etc. Well, if we are moving away from having a king as our head of state, why bother to be so concerned whether he proclaims, whether there's a proclamation, etc.? Shouldn't we just want to move on to ensure that we have someone who's representing our interests? And let's just not be superficial. I think what we have in Barbados is superficial. We have a president, and he or she was appointed by the government and representing the people. I think those are still vestiges of colonialism. All right, let's see if we have another message I could go through at this time while we are waiting your calls. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. The 716-2026. In a moment, we'll focus on Court St. Lucia, Unicoma, on Chaussee Road. It was only last Wednesday that the business place was burgled. And if I tell you maybe for the 100th time over the last 2 or 3 years, this is no exaggeration. So we'll focus on that particular establishment and what it has been subjected to over the last few years in just a moment. Please stay with us. We are on our NewsSpin Facebook page, also on YouTube, NewsSpin SLU, as well as Power 97.9 and TuneIn.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Contact Lucelec before trimming or cutting down trees that are near overhead electrical wires. Watch out for power lines before you begin working on a ladder. Be sure that ladders or scaffolds are far enough away so that you and the ends of the tools you're using don't come within 10 feet of power lines. And never use any electrical appliance in wet surrounding outdoors or in the rain.
This message is brought to you by Lucelec, the power of caring.
Born from the same soil, growing stronger.
Raised of our own sweat and toil, doing it together.
I'll bank for you and me,
taking us forward so proudly.
First National Bank, the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far. The pride of St. Lucia, here to stay.
Growing up, growing stronger, it's a First National way.
Every day we're making better, faster and smarter, convenience like no other.
First National Bank, the best of who we are.
First National Bank, together we'll go far.
We'll go far. For decades every day, it's clear, it's true.
First National Bank, we're here for you.
Bundle, bundle, yeah. Bundle, bundle, floor. Bundle, 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 save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up, tap up, tap up, tap up, tap up. Look at the place covered. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want.
Win big with Flow. Tickets to the biggest shows, water park passes, costumes, over $20,000 in cash, data, and more. Activate a 3, 7, or 30-day combo plan. Pay up your bill, switch to Flow, bundle up your chance to win every day.
Bundle, bundle, yeah. Bundle, bundle. Bundle, 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 save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up, tap up, tap up, tap up, tap up. Look at the place covered. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want. Look at the place covered. Look at the place covered. Do what you want. Watch what you want.
Bundle now and get a smartphone for only $99. Switch now.
Hi to the folks operating at Courts St. Lucia, Unicoma on Chaussee Road. I don't know why this establishment is still operating in that particular area. And I'm not saying that businesses that are operating on Chaussee Road all of a sudden should shutter. Because that's not the point. You cannot run away from the criminals. We have to make the criminals run away from law-abiding citizens and business establishments and so on. But by now, I'm sure those of you in the diaspora in St. Lucia watching and listening to this program of the years will concur that maybe Courts St. Lucia Limited is suffering from some kind of battered wife syndrome. You know, it's being beaten so often that it's gotten used to it, and it's there like a lame duck, just accepting the abuse, not saying anything, and probably not even doing enough to prevent the abuse from continuing. Because it is one burglary after another on Chaussee Road at this particular establishment. We have a call. Good afternoon. Thanks for holding on. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Timothy, good afternoon to you for
Okay.
the second time.
I heard you already, caller. We have to move on. I have to thank you so much. Thank you. You'll call tomorrow, sir. All right. Thank you so much. So, I mean, the big question is, what plans the company has to address those issues? What plans do you have, Unicoma, Courts, St. Lucia, particularly on Chaussee Road? Will it end? How soon will you put, and I mean, come across like as if, well, boys, we're dealing with the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, we're dealing with our National Security Minister, etc., when it comes to crime on a wider scale, and as if our police force can do nothing about it, our Prime Minister can do nothing about it, and in this particular case, courts cannot do anything about those incidents that it's being subjected to. It appears it's happening, what, maybe every quarter? It's happening 3 or 4 times a year. And the company should be very much concerned about the safety of its employees and likewise its customers, because this is happening too often. On this particular occasion, I think it happened on a Wednesday after the business had closed its operations for the day. There's been occasions where bandits have just walked into the establishment during operating hours. So definitely you need to change the game plan. I don't think that's even good for the image of that particular establishment. And the criminal elements just see you as a lame duck, as an entity where people just can walk in, whether you open or closed, and walk out with various electronic items and, you know, go out and plan for the return the next week. Because I'm sure maybe they're planning again for this entity. Anyway, we had this report on the DBS News World last week, Wednesday, filed by Zane Romulus. So in case you missed it, we'll just refresh your memory in case you also watched it with regard to what transpired at courts last week, Wednesday.
A little over a year since the Courts Chaussee Road branch was targeted by armed bandits in a brazen daylight robbery, the furniture and appliance store has been hit by thieves once again. Staff was made aware that the store had been broken into when it was opened up and found ransacked on Thursday morning. Police were immediately summoned to the location. The store appeared to have been hit in the wee hours of the morning, with perpetrators gaining entry into the building through a fire exit door. Some of the items stolen included phones, tablets, and laptops. One passerby who lamented the state of crime on island has encouraged members of the public to share information with the police if they have about the incident.
I feel it's really bad to rob courts, really, because helping everybody can help us. We go there, you get your thing without money, and then after you pay, and then you're okay. But every time to rob the place, man, that's bad. That's a bad, how do you say it, a bad message for the people, you know, that they have the right to go anywhere and rob, especially when they have a disaster like rainfall, you know, we have earthquake, we have things like that. People just usually wait for these days to rob people. And to rob places is bad. Must stop this nonsense. This can give the policeman too much work. This thing need to be stopped.
The retail outlet's operations were shut down for the day as a result. This customer, who was hoping to make a purchase, was sorely disappointed upon arriving to find out that the store had been burglarized.
Boy, I don't even know what they say. Eventually they'll take out cuts from there, because cuts are really taking blows in that corner here. They're taking blows all the time here. That's wrong. I came to get a printer for my girls. I have 2 girls going to school so they could do their homework, their work on it. But to find out, they won't be open.
The matter is currently under investigation by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. The theft occurred despite the store's best efforts to secure its premises after multiple break-ins over the years. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
All right, that report was filed last Wednesday during the DBS News World. Couldn't say it better. Courts really taking blows, eh? And courts will have to do a lot better. I don't know what is motivating the company to continue to operate there, but clearly, if they want to remain there, if they want to remain viable and stop being a target for the thieves, they have to do better in terms of preserving the establishment, protecting it, security cameras, better security. Obviously, the onus is on courts to protect the entity and to ensure that the lives of customers and also the employees are not put at risk. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. All right, somebody says there, thanks, I heard your response. Why then should we have a Governor General as the King's representative, funded by the taxpayers if it's just superficial? Also, the Governor General has announced 10 days of mourning to be observed here. What does that mean? What are we as citizens expected to do? Thanks again. Well, we need to hear from the authorities on this. I find it a little bit tardy on the part of our authorities in St. Lucia. They have not released any plans on how they're going to mourn the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. I think in the case of Jamaica, they have a few days of mourning. Likewise in Antigua and a number of the other territories. But we are still waiting to hear from the authorities. Maybe we'll be hearing very soon from the press secretary to the Prime Minister, Ms. Mondi Lewis. Also the communications officer in the office of the Prime Minister, Rihanna Isidore. And maybe we'll be hearing from somebody from the External Affairs Ministry. There was 92nd gun salute, 96 gun salute, which took place on Friday. Let me see if I have the information to share with you. We had it in a particular group. So let me see if I could get the information. And this was, I think, at about 5:30 on Friday afternoon. And the information is on the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. A 96-gun salute will take place 5:30 p.m. on Friday, 9th of September, on the premises of the Government House. The salute will be conducted by members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. This signals the commencement of the official mourning period. Okay? All right, let me see if I have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says courts needs to get a game plan, not change one, because they don't seem to have one at all. Courts needs to get a game plan, not change one, because they don't seem to have one at all. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says courts has the latest electronic selling, but not the latest security system. Something is not right. Okay, and let's see what somebody else is also saying. Don't bust your head for courts. They will ensure and they in the okay. All right, that one is too heavy for me. All right, let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Tim, CCC police have body cameras. Is there any legislation to provide that evidence in court? No. We keep on putting the horse before the cart in St. Lucia. Okay. What is happening in the chat room? Let me see if I have any of your comments to go through at this time. What somebody's saying there? All right, some of your discussions. Okay. All right, let me see what's happening there in the chat room. Just bear with me. I'm trying to see if I could go through one of your comments. Somebody says the so-called educated ones who could educate the masses on the likely all have saturated political power over the people in this so-called republic, where all of them, the person says, all of them share a common perspective and philosophy, which can be very detrimental to us as a people. We all hide in their holes because they are all hungry, looking out for political jobs and contracts. Don't you see them being resurrected and crawling out one by one? and keeping I silent as a mouse. There's a comment extracted there from the chat room. Let's see if we have some other comment I could go through while again we are awaiting your calls at 452-2979. Somebody says, Minova, can you check on these farm workers in Canada? We have a call. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
What's in your mind?
Yeah. Well, we're talking with respect to the leadership, right? Somebody needs to come out with a good analysis of the situation, right? But that is difficult because, as the last caller was saying, everybody seems to have been contaminated in a sense. Everybody seems to have drunk from the Queen's Cup. So everybody seems to have a really soft heart when it comes to the measures we need to take to free ourselves, you know. But if we just take the Queen out of the picture, our local education, right, system, right, our what we know about our country, I think it's enough. We don't have to think of those who went to get educated outside. So most of us in St. Lucia would qualify to make a contribution, but as long as these guys from overseas who don't use this expertise to help us, they all need this, you know, kind of destroy our democratic rights down here. You know, some of them, for whatever reason, they seem to have more rights than us. And when we look at it on a daily basis, we seem to have not even a human right. Man don't even have rights. You know, and so it's incumbent on us to find a new system. As a matter of fact, I think the next person who probably would speak positively should probably aim at leadership in the United Workers' Party. I'm not saying that the United Workers will. For what I'm saying, for all this work, it's not the ideal stuff, right? Based on the time it was invented, like when John did it. Well, it probably will not serve us, you know, but then at least if we start there, then we know, well, of course, this one we have there is not good. This one we are adopting, you know, is based on the fact that, you know, we are changing our policies. We're not going to have people like, maybe like drinking and Guy Joseph counted amongst those other guys. These are set of people who we can contest ourselves. You know, we don't let these intellectuals contact like Richard Frederick. They'll override these people, and they'll override us as well. So we need to, you know, kind of find a way to bring our story forward, man, instead of just depending on these people, like they're depending on England to give us whatever. And
Caller, you really want to get into government? You really want to be a government minister? You really want to be a parliamentary representative?
I'm not hiding that.
You really want to be a prime minister?
I'm out there to be.
But you're not bringing your message across. I mean, you're sounding like half dead, like you're in a coma.
A preamble usually covers different subjects and try to, you know.
No.
When you start to,
but you have just a let me give you some advice. You have just free advice. You have a few seconds, you know, to get the people's attention, to get you to listen to you.
But people know me, Tim, so don't worry yourself.
They know you?
To get you to listen to me, that's all.
All right, caller. Thank you so much. Somebody says there, Tim, you're talking about the ladies who went on the farm. One is back in St. Lucia. How comes you haven't seen her? Well, hope she can call NewsSpin at some point in time and share her experiences with us on the program. Another WhatsApp message, Tim, the government needs to invest in its people and stop making excuses to make changes in the country. All right, any more of your messages? Okay. Let me turn my attention to our NewsSpin news of the day. Our NewsSpin news of the day, King Charles III won't have to pay inheritance tax on a $750 million estate. Our NewsSpin news of the day, King Charles III will not have to pay inheritance tax on $750 million estate. Our NewsSpin news of the day. Stand by, coming up. That's a fact. So in the meantime, let me see if I have any of your contributions in the chat room. Okay, all right, not many contributions there. Let me see if I have a WhatsApp message I could go through. Okay. People are just a little silent today, although you are taking in the program. Somebody says, Tim, one of the ladies who went on the farm, she's back home. Tim, how come you haven't seen her? Okay, and I think that was also in the chat room as well. This situation with courts is a typical example of a certain sector is benefiting from crime. Sure, those items are insured, and courts is not really bothered. Okay, another person says there, and that's from the NewsSpin WhatsApp group. My sister coming back this month, she said she's loving the time. Okay, that's, I guess, as a tourist, went to Canada. All right. Okay, that will do it. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Timothy.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, I'm a little concerned about St. Jude Hospital. This morning, I heard on another station an engineer referring to a report that was done on the St. Jude project. He indicated that in the report there is no cost of project, there is no timeline for that project, and also phase 2, which is the new building, was not considered in the report. And so I am very concerned about that, and I need someone to clarify in government what is going on, release the report so that the public can have a look at that report. I also found out that it was not paid. The persons who did that that report, they were not paid. They did it pro bono. So I'm very concerned about that project, and I'm hoping we can get some more information on the report. It must be made public.
All right, Colin, that's long overdue. Thank you so much for calling, sir. Because who knows, within the next 3.5, 4 years, we might have a government in office that promised to complete that project, but because it was dilly-dallying, it might tell us that it was not in a position to do so. And it's possible. No prime minister right now, no minister of health can convince me on the basis of what they approach to the St. Jude Hospital project that it will be completed before their term of office ends. Now, I would love to be shocked. I would love to be surprised. But we have all been there before. After the fire in 2009, many people anticipated at least within 6, 7, 8 years that project would have been completed. All right. Several years later, we have nothing to show for St. Jude, and that is a shame, and we have spoken about it. 13 years after the fire, no St. Jude. Under UWP, under SLP is back in office. Let's see what will happen. But right now, they are moving at snail's pace, conducting all kind of studies, all kind of reports. The last time the Prime Minister said he's trying to source the funds. So let's see exactly how this will play out. Time now for That's a Fact.
And that's a fact. And that's a fact.
What do fingers get, or why do fingers get wrinkly in the bath? Why do fingers get wrinkly in the bath? The leading theory for why our fingers get wrinkly in the bath is so we can get a better grip on wet objects. Why do fingers get wrinkly in the bath? The leading theory for why our fingers get wrinkly in the bath is so we can get a better grip on wet objects. Whatever those objects are, I don't know. But that is the response, and we must all assume that's a fact.
And that's a fact. And that's a fact.
All right, let's conclude our broadcast, and thank you so much for being part of another edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9, as well as on YouTube, our Facebook page, and TuneIn, and Power 97.9. Coming up next, we have the Power Drive going up until 6 o'clock with great entertainment, great music, great discussions, you name it. and it will be taking place on this afternoon's program. And I'll be back, God willing, same time tomorrow afternoon, 12:30, with another broadcast. Be safe and continue to listen to Power 97.9 FM. Goodbye.